How did he pay again?
Let's not talk about that.
Okay.
Anyways, hey guys, back by popular demand here. The first video was very successful, so Austin and from Team Black Sheep. So we're gonna be going over some rants. This time we're covering the YouTube page. A lot of feedback, a lot of positive feedback.
Thank you.
So yeah, thanks for the support. We got a lot of views, a lot more subscriptions and stuff. So people are really showing good support on this. So let's go ahead and get started without further ado. And again, if I butcher your names, I apologize ahead of time.
We'll put them below so you can see it, I guess, for shout outs too. No, just in the bottom. But also make sure you guys subscribe and also comment in this video for your upcoming questions, in case we miss yours or if you want a new question.
Unless you're one of those fake Russian dudes. No? Okay. Anyways. Shots fired. NEPA Airsoft. Your thoughts of rate of fire limits at fields and events. What would be your rate of fire limit?
You want me to go first?
Dude, you don't want me to rain on this.
Okay. Rate of fire. My motto is, if you can't hit them in 50 to 100 BBs, like just laser BBs, why are you shooting? I know you can do suppressive fire. I've done that. I kind of understand that in the airsoft world. I'm a big fan of semi, just tapping the trigger like my XCR. It's just 16-1 gears. Ooh, nothing crazy. Recently went to Tax City and they have a rate of fire at 30. And I was like right at the limit. And I guess that was for Polarstar. I don't know. They just said, oh, you're at 30.5 or 30.6. So they said, you better be nice. And I'm like, oh, I just go on semi. And then we played semi all night. But rate of fire limits, it seems to be, I guess, the level of the playing field because everybody has one BB flying out the barrel at once. So that's cool. But then you have people with like those Cheetah and those other MOSFETs where you look at the trigger and it shoots by itself. There's just like no resistance. So it's kind of like, that's another way to go around it. I like the rate of fire limits, but it's just more work for your gun.
Well, as the guy with the fastest airsoft gun in the world, I would like to be able to use that at fields. So, no, I do see reasoning behind rate of fire limits. I was always an advocate for Polarstars, and I always did the good fight for the people that hated on them. However, I went to SC, and there was a lot of people there just 80 rounds a second. They weren't calling their hits, they were just spraying, and they thought because they were shooting so fast that they didn't have to go out. And I mean, not everybody with high rate of fire, cheaters or anything like that, but it was very unpleasant getting hit by like 30, 40 rounds in 1 second. I'm just like, all right, hit. And then,
well, where's your cover?
Well, sometimes I'm not a little bitch and I don't hide behind things. No, but I could see its place in some things. I think it adds a lot of. I don't agree with people whining about rate of fire though. If you're gonna have a rule about it, sure. But if there's not a rule about it at your field, and you're like, oh my God, they have a Polarstar and they're shooting fast. I don't know. Like, if like a lot of people think they say, oh, if you have to do high rate of fire, you suck. And if you think about it, you're doing simulated warfare, so you want to have the more advanced weapons. You want to have something that stacks your side. You don't want to go into it fair. We're not walking out and going, oh, okay, this is fair. I killed one of your guys, so you take one of our guys now.
Yeah.
So
I see that.
So I could see it, but I'm not going to place an opinion on it. I'm neither here nor there on it. If the field has a rate of fire limit, so be it. I'm not going to hate on it.
Well, it comes down to like if they're gonna do point blank shooting 80 a second, that's one thing. But if they're sitting, like say if they have a 249 or something set up and they're doing suppressive fire 80 a second, I would see them go, damn, I'm not gonna go in that area. And then, hey guys, let's use some teamwork and flank them. So you can use it to good and bad
Oh yeah.
field.
Yeah, the strafer was actually bought because where we play from, it's really thick brush, and we always got those kids that would go and bury themselves thick in the brush, and like they would wait till somebody walks by and they'd be like, "Haha, got you," with like their little spring shotgun or whatever.
Weed whacker.
Yeah, so it basically became the brush hog, and you walk before you go down a trail, you're like, "Oh man, that's really thick brush, better clear it out." And most of the time, like 4 or 5 people would come crawling out with their hands up. So, but I mean. I don't know. I took it to SC, and a lot of people loved it. And then one guy like freaked out and just yelled. The BBs didn't even hit him. He just complained that it was so insane and unfair, and it's ruining airsoft. Paintball this, blah 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 that. And it was just like, whatever. I'll put it away. You know, if nobody's having fun, whatever. But I want to know what you. This is from Doomshaper1. I want to know what you guys think of the semi-auto rule from AMS. Also, is it true that by using this rule, does it put more wear and tear on your AEG? Also, what is your thoughts about using specific gram BBs with certain FPS rules? What I mean by this is, what do you think should be the norm for FPS and with what weight BBs? Okay, I get that.
Well, I'll cover the mechanical
Yeah.
side. Yes, there's more wear and tear on your gun if it's semi-auto. Like say if it's not a MOSFET, if it's a stock M4 or AK, you're gonna have more wear and tear on your motor starting and stopping. It's gonna eat a little more battery power. That's one thing, it's minor. Also in your sliding trigger or your trigger trolley or your sliding contact, depending on what you call it, you get a little part with the cutoff lever and the sliding part. You get a little V shape. A lot of times you'll have, like say on an M4, you'll see it mushroom because it hits. So you can avoid that usually when you have a full auto, it moves the cutoff lever out of the way and just slides and it's A-okay. You can make your gun perfect for semi-auto. Like for my XCR, that's going on like year 4. Basically MOSFET, so there's no arcing. Like also on semi-auto when you're just pulling trigger, it's a lot of arcing, just trigger contacts. So you can put in MOSFET, no more arcing, and that works for standard ones. Like some of the new Aries gearbox M4s, they don't have. It's all a little micro switch, so problem solved. And then also the cutoff lever, just basically instead of making it like a point and round it like from the factory, just file it so it doesn't hit, it either goes up or below, and you're golden.
Yeah. Back in the day, it was, you know, it was looked down upon to put your gun on semi-auto.
Yeah,
this was
gun killer time.
Yeah, it was before, I guess there was vast knowledge and vast excess of, you know, all of these extra parts and everything. It was, you know, the AEGs were still, I guess, fairly new-ish, but, you know, like people would actually lecture you if you were going semi-auto. Oh, you're gonna mess up your gun, which is funny because, you know, nowadays it's like, oh, he's going full auto, so it's really weird. I really do enjoy semi-auto games. I do like variety though. Like, I definitely noticed a big change of, you know, like tactics and your style of play when you play semi-auto versus full auto games. But there's definitely a change of tempo. Like if you go to a field, say Insight, where it's all semi-auto, and then you go to a field like Tac City where they allow like full auto or burst or whatever. It's definitely a change of tempo.
Well, for his the American Milsim, I don't remember the exact rules. Do you know? 'Cause I remember seeing a video, and I think it's just all semi. I think sport guns are full. I'm not sure. If someone can correct us, but I remember seeing a video of the leader guy explaining how him and everybody else sat down and said, "This is probably going to be the best." And I think in that video, everybody said, "Yeah, it's going to work." So I'm assuming with their field, I think it's going to work. So if it works, everybody likes it, why not?
I think if you're doing like insane milsim, like, you know, if you restrict to mid caps or only like box mags for support guns, then you should allow them the option. Because like if somebody's gonna go and they're gonna abuse their gun just going full auto all the time, they're gonna be out of ammo. So it's gonna come down to, you're gonna have to think. I mean, you have the option to switch your gun for your own reasons. Sometimes shit hits the fan and you need to start spraying or keep somebody's head down so your team can maneuver. So I like the option. But sometimes semi-auto is pretty cool. But for a milsim event, you would think you would have the option, maybe just restrict mid caps. But I'm not gonna bash it. I've never been to an American. I think it's American Milsim, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
I've never been to one of their games, so I'm not gonna hate on it or anything or question it because maybe it works. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, different styles from California to back there.
Oh
so
yeah, definitely.
it works for them, so that's good job. And what about for the BBs? This question.
The norm for the BBs. So the with certain FPS rules. So like, what should the norm for FPS be, and what weight BBs? I'm guessing the chrono for use.
I'm just gonna say everybody should chrono with .2s, and then if they want to use whatever BBs they want, that's fine. If you want to use .3s in your pistol because it's basically point shoot straight, that's fine. If you want to use .28s, that's fine. Just chrono, and like if the field says 400 FPS, just chrono with the .2. Everybody's on the same playing field instead of the ref like, you're using an M4, but his friend has an M16. This is this and this kind of BB. You know, there's too much confusion. Most of the refs aren't really sure. Back in the day, I had a Mad Bull chrono, and yeah, Mad Bull is not accurate now, but I have like a little grid for going to events like this, and it's just everybody should just chrono with a .2 BB. Limit is 400, 350. Use whatever BBs you want. That's the simplest way.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have much to say on that. Yeah, I think you nailed it. More of a concern, Peter Sumner says, your opinions on Airsoft in general, it looks like a typo, maybe he's saying is like catering to the California players, and I really...
Wait, what? I guess he's asking like for East Coast and Midwest. Well, from what I've seen, there's Midwest is not a huge variety of fields. On the East Coast, you have SS Airsoft is very, very vocal on the internet and in person. You have Balahack, then you have Battalion, Combat City, and I think, what's that one, Bingfield?
In the Midwest?
No, I mean like on the East Coast in that area. Or like along the coast. So you have several fields that are very vocal. In the Midwest, you don't really hear that much. I know there's that new Intrigue, and there's like the Oklahoma Invasion. I don't know if that's like a permanent field or if it's just kind of moves around as an event. I don't know. But then like on the West Coast, it's I guess idolized. And like when I was in Florida, people like, do you play Attack City? And it's just like, I have. It's okay. It's boards, you know. So it's like, I guess California's leading the way, but you know, if I'm looking to send stuff to events, I would like to hear from the Midwest people. You know, we don't just, I guess, okay, here's Brian from Team Black Sheep, here's Brian from Echo One. We're not just looking for like, hey, we're just gonna send stuff here, 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 you know. We have our ears open, we wanna work with people, but if they don't contact us, we have no idea. Okay, I'm back. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could touch on that too, especially playing from the Midwest. A lot of the things with the Midwest players are, and this isn't everyone, this in general from what I've seen, they're very exclusive. Like, there's a lot of groups that have like private forums that it's like invite only, you know, and they like to be kept to themselves to, I guess, avoid open play. So all the little groups, they stick to themselves. Like there was a private little tournament I was invited. We were me and a few friends were invited to, and we were the only people who showed up, and it was them, and it was all the way out in a place called London, Missouri, and like we were just the only ones to show up, but they were like real exclusive. Like there's a lot of exclusive stuff going on, and like he said, you don't hear a lot of from the fields. Like the field owners, they promote the local community, but don't reach out and get involved with, you know, the whole airsoft community in general. It's all local. So.
Yeah. Well, this one kid, I think it's like TJ something. I don't know. He hit me up randomly while I was leaving lunch. He was like, "Hey, we're having an event." I said, "Email me," and it's like 4-on-4 type squad teams, like 18 people or 20 people showing up, and I'm sending them BBs and stuff. It's just, he went out of his way to contact me. I'm like, sweet, cool, here you go. You know, doesn't hurt to ask.
Well, yeah, and on that note too, on more of a negative note on the Midwest side, and again, this isn't towards everyone, but like we tried to, I don't know if you remember, I contacted you, we tried to set up a, one of our friends that was diagnosed with cancer, so we set up an event for him, like, and we contacted you and everything, but all of the people that were involved wanted to be the one running the show. So everybody pushed and pulled in their own direction. Everybody wanted to be the guy that said, hey, I did this, and the whole thing like just started falling apart. And eventually they did it, but they did it kind of on their own thing. So like, you know, it was really frustrating because everybody was trying to, like, we were like, oh, let's work together and figure this out. And everybody's like, no, I want to do this. No, I want to do that. And just pushing and pulling in different directions. So, I mean, you can't really go too far there.
Well, a lot of the charity games are very questionable. I always ask, like, what kind of a charity, where's the money going percentage wise? A lot of times the people will say it's a Wounded Warrior game, and it's like, how much is going to it? And it's just kind of like a lot of Airsoft teams, I'm going to say it, I've seen them use the Wounded Warrior thing to bring people in, but then there's no information of where the proceeds are going, and that's not cool. And I told people, like, yeah, I'd rather do a cancer charity run where my $30 goes to here and I'm sweating my ass off running. And they get upset when I say that, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I know where it's going. There's all the tax info on the website, and your website's like, you want me to pay you cash, and all these other people and give you raffle items. It's just, now we're way off topic now. Anyways, next one.
Alright.
Ooh, that one's shiny.
Oh yeah, so Atomic Goat 365, great name by the way. He said, this is a story. He said, I loved Airsoft, don't get me wrong, it's a good sport and fun, but the reason I quit was because of all the cheaters. Me and my dad were going every week for 3 years. It was fun as hell. We took a break because my dad got really busy, so one day we started back up and we hated it. We left early. There were a lot of little kids and cheaters, so we never went again. He said, a few weeks ago I went, and he said, this is at Insight, there were grown adults that were cheating. That really made me sad. Also, the campers, I don't understand why they sit in the back, get lit up, and just sit there and continue to shoot. Why did they do that? I would keep going on, but I really don't need to think. I think you get where I'm coming from. I might give it one more chance. So yeah, I told him I would share the experience because this goes back to our last episode where we covered the cheaters, the D-bags, all that stuff. And like this is a good example right here. Somebody and his dad who are going and don't want to play anymore because of the cheating and everything. So like, look, this kid and his dad want to go out father-son time and enjoy the weekend, but they can't because everybody's so caught up in wanting to win and be competitive about it that they're not going to call their hits. And now this kid, this guy's all upset, and so now they have to find something else to do. So I mean, just think how your actions affect people, because I mean, it's really a sad story, so that happens all the time. St. George says, what type of field would be best to take a younger player, 11 to 15? That is a first timer.
I say outdoor.
Well, it also depends on the area too, because I mean every field's got their outdoors that are decent. Like I can name a lot of terrible outdoor fields out here.
Well, outdoor is slower pace. If you play you take a young kid to an indoor field, it's like you have board cover, and then an enemy team rushing towards them, it might just open up on them. Or outdoor, it's like, okay, you have like 10 minutes of walking, and you might see someone, then you can hide.
Well, I could see that. Like the first actual field I went to, aside from playing in the woods in Illinois, was an indoor field. It was called the Coliseum. And it was like it was like a leased out Walmart, and it was indoors, but I loved it. Like I would play there almost every Saturday and Sunday, and had the best time ever. you know, hiding in the hallways, and you know, it was a more spaced out field. So I mean, I think it's going to depend on the player, and you know, check out different fields. I would say don't let your first experience, you know, kind of decide it for you, because
there could be a group of cheaters that day without you knowing.
The thing is, your experiences are going to vary every time you go to the field. I mean, I go to a lot of the same fields, and no 2 times are the same. Either it's like super fun, or it's like, oh man, this was awful, I should have saved my money and stayed home. And then sometimes it's like, why do I even continue to do this? So I mean, it really depends. I hope that helps. I mean, just check out different things. All right, telecom dad of 2, which is my buddy Jeff, shout out to him. He said, I know Austin, and Austin has met my 12-year-old son. He knows and understands well how to keep my son interested in Airsoft. It's hard to play open play, but these guys respect the new player and the experience. My son has been lit up hard, literally bleeding with another experienced player. This is what ruins the sport. Fortunately, guys like Austin were around to help him realize this was isolated and wrong. I don't mind, as I'll mark you for the next game. But my kid and his friends need guys like Austin to help keep his game fun. So, I mean, that's how everyone should, you know, everyone should be going out there with the purpose of having fun, not with the purpose of hurting people, not with the purpose of seeing who can make who bleed. It's people try to make this so manly.
I know.
We're playing with BB guns. It's you really, like, so many people, and like, you know, the guys that take their pictures and they like sit in their house. It's like they think that people see that and they're like, dang, this is so cool. But people see that and they're like, what is this guy doing? You know, not bashing on everybody. It's just kind of funny. But no, I think we've all been there. You go through my pictures. I'm sure I have some of those pictures, but it's, I don't know. There's nothing manly about what we do. It's BB guns. Let's be real.
I'll find one by that later.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, so this one seems more like a concern. Magnus James. I normally don't even play indoors, but the one time I did, I don't understand why players even need high velocity. I mean, in the field I was in, I could have played as low as 280 feet per second with 20 gram BBs, and it wouldn't have affected my effectiveness at all. So it seems like he's just, you know.
In the advent of the hoodie kid, I used to have a vast collection of West Arms pistols. I had the West Arms Kimber, the SC, the hybrid, all that. And they're shooting 300 or so. Awesome pistols. With the advent of the kids wearing hoodies or extra layers, I have to double tap them, or sometimes like Mozambique and get them. And it's just like, after the point, it's just like, I'm not even gonna use these. I just put them in my room, shell them. I haven't used them since 2004, just because the weapons are like obsolete now. And it's like low FPS, yes, that would work. But like with everybody wearing gear and like a molly vest, 280, you would hear it, but you will not feel it. And if there's other people shooting, like say if you're standing here at the wall and BBs are hitting the wall and then your vest, you probably won't hear it. So you won't even feel it. So you do need that kind of nudge, like, hey, I got you.
Yeah,
But you have to still be safe. 350 for indoors seems fine.
Yeah, I mean, I could go any way with this. I had an experience once with a stock Marui AK, and we were playing at an outdoor field, and I shot this guy, and he legitimately wasn't feeling. He wasn't cheating because he didn't acknowledge any of the shots, didn't turn towards me or anything. And I was like, teek, teek, teek. And I wasn't very far. I was maybe like 20 feet away. And I'm like shooting him in the back, and it's just like skimming off his back, and they're like bouncing. I'm like, hey man, I'm getting you. And after the game, you know, he called himself out. You know, he wasn't like cheating or anything. After the game, he's like, dude, you need to get that gun upgraded because it's super weak. And it's like, I had just gotten that gun like, you know, a couple weeks before.
But he acknowledged that you're shooting him.
After I called to him, you know, and it's like, hey man, you know, I was like, hey dude. And he turned around and he's like, oh, I'm out, you know. But, you know, I don't by no means do I think FPS is everything.
No.
But at the same time, you're going to run into a lot of problems with lower FPS guns, and it gets confusing. I think around 330, the 300 something ish is perfect for guns. I think 280, if you're playing indoors or if you're playing with a group of people that you can vouch for, that you know, like, you know, but otherwise you're going to have problems, especially when you go to an outdoor field and people are all geared out and, like, you know, they don't hear it or they're sweating and they're tired and they're just like, you know, BBs are bouncing.
Plus, you have to know what your airsoft rifle can do. I remember back in the day, a kid with a Marui AEP, like an MP7 or something like that, shooting at me, and I hear this noise, and I'm just sitting there with my RPK, just sitting there like looking, and I hear this noise, and like there's BBs like hitting the brush, not coming through to me, and the kid, I just see him just like laying there, just like you're laying out in the open. I can see him, like I'm in some brush too, and I'm just like, your BBs aren't, and I can see him like waving at me. And it's like, your BBs are not hitting me clearly. I'm not cheating or anything, so I just kind of pick up my RPK and just like point, and it's like, and my BBs with FPS kind of went through the bush that I was in, and then got him, and he was upset, and he's like, dude, and I'm like, I'm sorry, your gun is not shooting. He's like stock MP7, like maybe 50 feet away, and it's just like it floats there.
I've ran into similar problems.
But we talked, and he shot at a bush at range, and he's like, oh, okay. And then I think he upgraded, probably, hopefully.
All right, Josh Reshore says, great video on the topic of the Igor. People have an issue with it because whomever was in charge of putting it together got lazy and didn't bother striving for accuracy. If manufacturers are not going to bother building accurate replicas, then the airsoft community at large might as well just go back to paintball.
Well, all airsoft like AEGs aren't even spec. Like if you compare like a real AR-15 to like an AEG, it is wider, so that means Austin, your GMP is a piece of shit right there.
Damn it.
You know, airsoft's about having fun. You know, look at the Aliens Pulse Rifle. That does not exist. That is from a movie, but people buy that, and it's awesome. Look at the JG Star Dragon, that little fish thing, and then you have like the, what is it? Tokyo Marui has like some weird M16 thing from like an anime. You have a whole bunch of anime guns. I had the Cerberus Glock 26 kit. I even have, I'll put a picture right here of me and my SpongeBob pistol. You can go ahead and post this online. It's on my Facebook, but right here. Airsoft's about having fun. If you take it too serious, well, first off, you don't have to buy that model. You know, it's just there. You know, so like, for example, if you don't like Starbucks is the best. You know, you don't have to walk in the store like, hey, Starbucks barista number 2, I hate you and fuck your couch. You know, you don't have to do that. Why would you waste your time? It's just like, go, like I asked my Russian friend on Facebook, I'm like, hey, if you watch this video, he's like, yeah. And I said, well, what do you think? He's like, oh, just get an LCT. And it's like, okay. You know, he's not going to buy the NPO one because it costs too much. He's not going to buy the Echo because it's not correct and true to spec to his liking. But he's going to get the LCT and he's going to be happy. But think about it, there's 2 other models, the King Arms and the G and G. You know, you can, there's a lot to choose from. At least there are models out there on the market that can get more people into airsoft. What happens if little Timmy, he buys the Igor and he's like, oh, this is awesome. And then he sees some cool Russian players and he's like, oh, I want to be like them one day. And he upgrades to an NPR or something like that, maybe down the road. I don't know. Okay, I have a question. Okay, this is off topic. So I guess like for the whole, the Igor, I guess if we can close that topic and then ask you guys a question. In upcoming airsoft world of electric AKs, what is going to be better? This is going to be like for the Russian teams, because you guys will know. What will be better? The E&L AK or the LCT or I guess the VFCs for the electric, for the AKU, if you guys can inform us. Like G&G, I don't think are that correct. I'm not sure. And of course not Maruis or even Echoes, but I mean like E&L, it's still body. And what about like,
my question is like, well, if you guys are die hard, like you guys are going as far as to speaking Russian and insulting people for not speaking Russian. And you guys are living and breathing this, this Russian persona kit and the hardcore like milsim status or whatever. Why are you running AEGs? Like I don't know any hardcore kit fanatic that would take anyone seriously, running the AEGs. And I'm not feeding into that, and I'm not saying, but it's like if it's so hardcore, if you guys are so hardcore and you guys demand, this exact replica, then why do you guys not look for, a gas VSS? Or why are you guys
I don't think there is one, that's the thing.
A company made one, but it was like $1,000 something to get because it was all custom built. So it's like
I haven't heard of it.
But it's like, why don't you guys get these? Or and even that point, where are you going to get the gas ones? Like you're complaining because it's on the market, but it's not to specs, and the specs from you are things that you've read online or saw online, and you've never held the gun in your hands, you've never fired the real one, but you're complaining that it's nothing like the real one. It's like, like he said, if you don't like it, we're not trying to feed anybody, and we're not trying to sell anything here. We're not like
except Starbucks.
Yeah, go to Starbucks. What are you waiting for? But we're not like trying to force it down your throat. We're just addressing concerns and issues, which I get it. That's a concern in the thing. But the whole thing turned into, a bash Echo One. Like, oh, Echo One's so bad because they gave us a free gun and made not an exact replica.
Rant mode.
Yeah. Well.
Power down, beast boy. Well, I guess okay. For the Russian airsofter extremists, what would be the
extremist?
Oh no, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I'm just like, I don't know, like if on the chat or on the comments if it's the Russians or other Russians. I don't know. I'm just asking. You guys seem to have a lot of information. What would be a really good AEG? Okay, if someone's like, I want to get the best electric AK out there, and what if I want to get the best gas AK out there? Like, what about the KWA AK? What about the GHK? What can you guys let us know? What would be the most awesome, I guess, replica for gas and electric? That would be really cool. Maybe we could go to Airsplat, so we can go to Airsplat and review it. If it's there, that would be cool. Maybe shoot it. I don't know. So if you guys, okay, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and go ahead and comment below. Make sure you guys subscribe and like and everything. And one of the topics Austin was curious about, and I see it everywhere in the airsoft world, like on teams, and then in real world with people that aren't in airsoft, but they're, taking advantage of TGIF Fridays, military discounts, is a stolen Valor. What do you guys think about that? Is that cool in airsoft? You're like, oh, I got some Ranger tabs at the surplus store. That makes me super legit. I don't think that's cool. What do you guys think? Let us know, and I guess take it from here, because that's your hot topic.
Well, to clarify, I don't think that, just, wearing the camouflage or having the name tapes is wrong. Wearing the Ranger tabs, that's where you get into, you're going to offend somebody. Simply, like, I saw a discussion and people were like, oh, your shirt says Marines on it, you're stolen Valor. And that's not the case at all. Most of these surplus, tops come with the name tapes on it, and they'll say, some random name or U.S. Marines on it or whatever. I've gotten rid of a lot of my old camouflage, and it had my name on it.
I have one of your name tapes.
Well, there you go. And it said U.S. Marines on it. I wouldn't be offended seeing somebody wearing that. I don't think that's stolen Valor. However, the topic, it's been a lot like there was an issue with a Millicent team that made a fake military ID. And they also had a guy posing as a Navy SEAL on their team. And I brought it up on one of the forums or one of the Facebook pages, and people were like, oh, that's stupid, oh, that's crazy. And then somebody was like, oh, but they're nice guys. So the question is is it okay? Does stolen Valor become okay if the person is nice? Is that all of a sudden? But the same people that were like, nah, this isn't a big deal, spent an hour today just completely like trolling a new milsim team because they had tryouts, and there was no, they never claimed to be military. They even made a disclaimer: we are not real military. And these people are like, you guys are the worst, you guys are scum, kill yourself, like this is the worst thing I've ever seen, you guys are gonna offend a bunch of people, like, oh, you guys think you're hot, like all this and that. And it's like, so these people that thought it was okay for somebody to go as far, all the way as far as to making a fake military ID and having, you know, a claim of being a Navy SEAL, that's okay because they were nice to them at an airsoft field. But it wasn't okay for people that they have never met who are just doing their own thing, just to completely destroy their page. I don't understand how that works. Like, so maybe people can fill me in here, or like, there's a lot of cases in airsoft of stolen valor, and it's like, you would think by now, like, people would learn, because some people, they do make it famous, but if you notice, there's far more cases of stolen valor that's caught in the airsoft community than what you see being shared, because it never becomes a big deal. It's like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. Okay, whatever. And some people, you know, they continue doing it, and people are just like, oh, well, I know he's not real military. It's okay, but Or
they say, oh yeah, I was in the military, and they were, but they are like at this rank. But then they say that like the big fish tail, it just gets bigger and bigger, and it's just kind of like, I don't get it.
Yeah, and that goes along too with like people who purposely wear their gear out in public for attention. Like, okay. Like, we used to, like, after we'd play, we would go out to eat. So we would just take our tops off. So we'd have camo pants and, like, a shirt on. Like, you know, just a regular shirt. But, like, we would never wear our full gear because actually one time my buddy Zach and I went into Walmart. We had our tops on, and somebody got really offended. And I was probably, like, 16 at the time. And, you know, we didn't know any better. But it's, like, simple things like that can save all sorts of chaotic confusion. But I've seen some people in the airsoft community actually promote, hey, let's all get together and go out to eat and wear our tack gear. And it's like, you're asking for trouble at that point.
Don't even get me started on GameStop or video game releases. I'm going to wear my tack gear. It's like, or in Halloween. Oh, for the love of God. Oh,
it's also not original. Like, we used to have...
How many ghosts can you have trick-or-treating? Fuck.
It's really not original. I've done it before. I'm guilty of it. I wore my gear and stuff. But like, as a matter of fact, a couple years ago, we went out on Halloween, and there was a guy, a really big guy in like full camouflage with a shotgun, a spring shotgun, and he was like walking up to people and cocking it and like dry firing it in their face and stuff. And it was like, this guy's gonna get beat up before the night's over. He's gonna get just completely torn to shreds before the night's over. He's asking for trouble, but. I don't know, like subjects like that. But one of the things with this episode is we didn't have most of the feedback. It was great. It was, you know, it was compliments and stuff. But just make sure you guys post your concerns and stuff so we have topics.
Or questions.
Yeah, your questions. It could be over anything, and we'll address it. We covered a lot in the first one, so let's make this one a little more interactive. So, like, what are your guys' opinion on stolen valor? What do you think the consequences should be for, say, like a field owner? Like, if somebody gets caught at their field stolen valor, what should be the repercussions of it? Should they be shunned on the, the internet? Should they be shunned on the pages? Is one enough? And should it only take one? Because I mean, especially at this point, to where it's a very well known topic, and I mean, so give us some feedback on that, and we'll address that in a later episode.
You good?
So, I'm good.
Yeah. So I guess that's the final. So I guess make sure you guys like this video, thumbs up, share it with your friends, and also subscribe. Make sure you guys check out our website, teamblacksheep.com. There's some dashes in there. I'll put the links below. It's kind of crazy to type it out. And also our Facebook page. We're going to have some hot news coming for our website and the blog. Some pictures of some new Gerber stuff and some new products. Not a product plug, but I'm just letting you know there's going to be some cool new stuff. So make sure you guys check that out, or just check our Facebook. We'll just post it on there so if you're lazy. So yeah. Also,
we appreciate the shares. We got a lot of shares going. We definitely appreciate it. The more you share it, the more you get the word out, the better the content's going to get. Because as we said before, this is solely based on you guys' what you guys are requesting from us, and you know, so it's kind of a give and take. So thank you a lot for sharing it.
Mhm.
Make sure it gets shared so more people see it and get us, you know, get some more people in here asking questions, concerns, share some stories, whatever, and we'll address it.
Yeah. Thanks again. See you guys.
Stay classy.